Welcome to another amazing season of Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. I'm so happy to be back showing you guys amazing people, amazing episodes, and tonight is no different. As a matter of fact, I have an amazing woman, a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Her name is Lyzz Mitrovic. Let's take a look at a little bit of her in action. I can safely say that tonight I will just be interviewing her and I won't have her show me any moves. I'm trying to save my neck the trouble. But as I said, I work very hard to bring you guys amazing episodes, amazing people, and this season is no different. We got a full house, so many amazing people. But without further ado, let's take a quick break and we'll get into the interview. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Lyzz Mitrovic. So good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Of course, of course. So I just want to get right into it. When did you start your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu journey?
I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in 2014. Okay. I just had maybe about 6 months before I had gotten my black belt in another martial art called Hapkido. And I started Hapkido in college. And that was, before that I'd never started, I did not compete in or train any martial art before that.
What made you start it in college? What made you, why Hapkido at the time?
One of my friends was training in it, and they thought that I would really enjoy the martial art. Hapkido has a lot of kicks and throws and joint manipulations like wrist locks and arm bars, and he thought I'd really enjoy the kicking part.
Okay. Did you play soccer before that? Or?
No, I did hurdles in high school and junior high, so I really just enjoyed being an athlete, and he thought with my flexibility that I'd be able to do well with the rotation of the kicks.
Okay.
And it was probably one of my favorite parts of Hapkido was the kicks, and honestly, probably about all of it. What am I saying?
I was gonna say you almost sound like kickboxing. Might have been your thing or whatever. Did that ever cross your mind? I like kicking or whatever. Maybe.
No, surprisingly, because I do enjoy Muay Thai. I have trained a few classes in it, but it's not something that stuck with me. More the joint manipulations and the throws, and we did a little bit of groundwork, and once I experienced groundwork, I just really enjoyed grappling. Okay. And so I was like, okay, I'm either going to go into judo after my black belt in Hapkido or go into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu won.
Okay. Does Hapkido have tournaments as well, and is it similar or?
No, it doesn't. So one of the things that I loved about Hapkido and why I enjoyed the martial art is the way my instructor taught it was a self-defense style. So it's reactionary, and you follow up with moves that would unfortunately injure people. Cause bodily injury.
It's self-defense. You gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Exactly. But it's not appropriate for competitions or for tournaments. I would have needed to do more of another style of traditional martial art, similar to a karate or a Shorin-ryu style. Okay. And I just I wanted to do Hapkido.
Okay. So you do Hapkido. You started at 2014. What year was it that you switched to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
So I started Hapkido in 2010.
Okay, so 2010 and 2014 was
when I started Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu. Okay. So what did that feel like? First day Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. Obviously, you come from a Hapkido background, so you're not completely new to training and sparring with people. But just tell me first day of class, how did that feel?
So my first day of class, I walked in, and fortunately I did have because I did a little bit of groundwork with Hapkido, I knew a few of the warm-up drills, and I felt comfortable.
Okay.
But doing the moves, absolutely uncomfortable. It's some beginner mindset. You begin something, you should not expect to be an expert in it. You were just beginning.
Right. Yeah.
So I came in with an open mind, and making a fool of myself. I know that following the guidance of the instructors, I will one day be able to do what they do, maybe. Maybe not as good as them, but maybe one day I can be as good as them if I continue to show up and practice that. I left my first, I came in on Monday, stopped on a Friday before I said, here's my money, take out all of it, I want to train. I left the gym with 50 bruises.
Wow. So you really were training.
Yeah, either as iron deficient or
I was gonna say, bruises, wow.
or I had really good training sessions. Could be both, I don't know.
Well, in hindsight, it was probably you had a really good training session. Something that stands out to me is that, okay, when you first started, when you knew you were going to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, did you have the mindset as hey, I want to do this to compete, or was it more so I want to do this and I just want to learn about the art?
I really wanted to learn about the art.
Okay.
So my goal after I achieved my black belt in Hapkido was to get my black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, and then either concurrently or separately go on to Judo. I still would like to get my black belt in Judo.
You love the art.
I love the arts, yeah.
So I find that fascinating because I feel like it's the people who are doing something because they love it who excel the most in it, right? With you, you weren't going into it because you wanted to compete and win a whole bunch of medals, although that is what ended up happening. But you really just fell in love with the art, and you wanted to know more about it, and you wanted to learn it, and doing that, in its purest form, you ended up being really good at it. And when I say really good at it, I just want to list some of your accomplishments. First place IBJJF World Champion No-Gi 2023. First place IBJJF European Championship No-Gi 2023. First place IBJJF American Nationals No-Gi, also in 2023. First place ADCC North American Trials 2024. Yeah, there's a whole bunch here. I mean, I can go on. First place IBJJF Masters World Championship in 2022, 2023. Yeah, let me see. First place IBJJF World Championship 2018 Brown. There's so much here. I don't want. Yeah, I don't.
That's a lot. That's enough.
We would be here all night or whatever if I was listening to everything. But I just talk to me about your first competition. How did it go, and what was your mindset? First of all, how did they convince you to even compete? Because you're learning it just because you love the art. So what made you want to compete in a tournament in the first place?
I'm actually an incredibly competitive person.
Okay.
So I do enjoy things for the art of it. But before I got heavily into jiu-jitsu, I was also playing a miniature war game called Warhammer.
Okay.
And you have to paint your figurines, and you go play against other people's armies to compete against that. So I was doing that concurrently as I did Hapkido. I actually kind of got into the two hobbies at the same time.
Really? Okay.
From the same friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
this friend, I think, was meant to lead you down this path.
Man, and he really did, because I don't think I would have gone on the journeys that I have, or even met my husband if it would not have been for this person.
Wow.
Yeah. But so I just really enjoy strategy games, and when I started doing jiu-jitsu, your body is your own chess piece. So you learn the moves, you learn how to do the things, and I knew once I had done it, I was hooked, and learning, knowing I can compete in it, it was pretty easy choice for me.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna try this out.
Right.
So I'm kind of I don't recommend this. Each person's on their own journey. But I started in February. I competed for my first tournament in May.
Wow.
So like I really went for it.
Wow.
2 feet in, jumping in.
So how did that go? You know, you're excited, you know, you want to compete. Tell me a little bit about it, because I feel like people always remember their first tournament.
Oh yes, I did. It was actually an in-house tournament. So an in-house tournament means that it's like at your gym and it's relatively small. It's open up to truly anybody, but in-house means it tends to be like a smaller amount of like local. So in comparison to the other bigger tournaments, it's something that's more small and it allows you to get the experience in of competition. So my first tournament was an in-house tournament, and one thing that is both like, it's beautiful because it's growing. I've been doing jiu-jitsu about 10 years now, and there was no females that signed up. So
really? Well,
none.
for your first tournament? So
First
no females,
tournament,
just
no
you?
No females, it was just me. And they said, well, we could, you could not compete and we can give you a refund, or if you'd like, you can, go against some of the guys. Of course, like we both had to agree. And again, this is my first martial art that I'm competing. I didn't know it's not normal to compete against guys, because I train with them all the time. I thought, like, why not?
Yeah.
I train with them all the time. I think I can do it. I'm gonna sign up.
You know, like, not to brag, but I've seen some of the guys. I feel like I can do okay. I can fare okay.
I did not. I did not fare well. I started off with no-gi, and for no-gi, there's 2 styles of jiu-jitsu. One where you use a kimono or a gi, as we call it, and that's one style. And then the other style is no-gi, where you are more in like we call them spats, but it's like sports gear that has no pockets or zippers that would accidentally injure our opponents.
Yeah. Okay.
So my first time was competing in no-gi, and I faced a gentleman who was a wrestler, and he won on points, but it was the first time I had ever competed against somebody not doing any of that.
But even then, okay, so what did that feel like after the tournament, right? Because like clearly, did it light that kind of like fire in you? Was like, listen, like, I didn't win this one or whatever, but I did it and it wasn't as bad. Like, cause it's always like the nervousness when you first start, right? And now like you've done it, right? So you're no longer like new to tournaments. You can actually say you've done a tournament. So did it like light a fire underneath you? Like, you know what? With a little bit more practice, I think, I think I'll do better.
Absolutely. And like alongside that, when you're competing in a tournament, you tend to have a lot of other people that you're training with that can help guide you. So I had somebody that helped mentor me for my first tournament. And they're like, hey Liz, this is just what happens, and all you do is you take what you experienced in that tournament, and you can use that to help make your experiences in the future better. And like I feel like that you can apply that whether you're competing or just training in general. And that's like a rule that's like people say like jiu-jitsu is a lifestyle, and I feel like that's part of the little nugget of knowledge that you can apply to any part of life. Like you fall down, you can get back up, and you look back and you're like, okay, why did I fall down? Oh, it was a rock. Okay, I'm going to step over the rock this time, and we're going to continue to get better.
And that you did. So what was the first tournament you won, and what did that feel like, right? Because we know how you felt when your first class, right? And you were excited, not nervous at all. How did that feel to get that first victory? Like just overall like emotions. What was the first thing that popped into your head?
I was incredibly excited because at that same tournament, later in the years when I went on the same promotion that put on the in-house tournament, and I went and competed on another one of their events, and there were women who signed up, and I lost to 2 of them, or one of them, and then the other one I faced, and I was able to win that match. And then we ended up becoming friends and training together afterwards, because we were training at the same gym, but we were on different times, so we hadn't really faced each other or trained. So it was almost like competing against something you didn't know. You don't know their game, you don't know how they're going to react or anything. So it was a great opportunity to try out new things, and it's just excitement to be able to achieve something you didn't think was possible.
I always hear about jiu-jitsu. It's one of the benefits that people always hype up is it's the community and the people you meet, right? Me myself, like I have been, you know, studying jiu-jitsu now for a couple months, and I'm at your gym now, and I can honestly attest to that because the friends I've made and just the people overall, like people have just been very positive, and like just the energy, right? Like, because I only can speak for myself. When I went to my first class, I didn't, you know, I didn't leave with a whole bunch of bruises, but I also, I come from a mostly striking background, right? You know, and so I was kind of nervous with the whole grappling, right? You know, but I felt like it was important to like kind of like learn, just because, you know, I felt like that was the area where I was like weak in. And also, me being a talk show host, I felt like jiu-jitsu would be good for me because I won't be all bruised up, you know? Can't be out there like, you know, punching and kicking and then come and do a TV show, right? So I felt like, oh, I can learn something, and yeah, I may be like sore, but no one's like cutting my face, you know, like it's still a sport and an art I can learn with minimal like damage, you know? And so me, I didn't really know what to expect, but what I will say is like the people I've encountered and like met and stuff, like the community, everyone's like just super cool people and super nice. And even the guys who like are really advanced, those guys are like the nicest, you know, like they're like the coolest people. You know, they want you to learn. And so, yeah, like, did you feel a sense of that as well? Like, you know, like the community, like.
My first gym, one of the beautiful parts about jiu-jitsu and one of the different parts is you want to find a gym that resonates with you. So my first gym was not it definitely had a community, but it wasn't a community that resonated with me as deeply as where I'm at right now. And I say this because the gym I was at, it had a lot of men, and I was one of the only females at my gym. There were females that would go, but not as consistently as I was going. So like they had families, they had other needs that they had to go handle. And so, but once I started, like about 6 months after I had started, one of my now best friends, like she's gone on to open up her own gym and went down MMA fields, but we've been friends for 10 years. And I can't imagine like how my journey would have been without her. So it's like once you find your tribe and your people, and like you gravitate towards them, and then I feel like you bounce off of each other and it attracts more like-minded people. And from there, I know by the time they moved into a bigger space, we had started to have more consistent females. So I feel like it was because we were there that more women started to show up, and we were being consistent. So like they could depend and know that like, oh, okay, these people are going to be here.
Right.
But going back, like now I'm at a different place, and the community at the gym that we're at it's very different. And I agree. It's not. I would give up my titles to have, if I had to choose between remembering the people I've met in jiu-jitsu and giving up my titles, happily get rid of those, because people are worth more than the medals. Like the medals are pretty heavy, but they're way heavier. Like people are the gold.
That's beautiful. 100% agree. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. We're going to talk more with you about that and some of your accomplishments, but before that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Yo, what's going on? This is Monty Bush representing Sacramento, Backpackramental. I am with Sky Alton, and this is Everyday Amazing. Tune in.
Welcome back to the show. I am still here with Lyzz, and she's a very accomplished person. I know, like I said earlier, I listed her accomplishments, and that's not even like half of them, but you know, we won't list them all again.
Thank goodness.
Something that I really want to ask you, right? What does it, so you've competed at the most like elite level, right? And there's a question that I've asked other people who've competed at the elite level of in their fields. At what point did you start to feel like isolated? And when I say that, I don't mean like isolated, like, you don't have like friends and, family around you, but like, I mean like, did your training ever like take you to a place to where like you felt like people didn't really understand? Only people who understood you was like other like people at that level? Because like, and I'll give you an example. I knew someone else who was competing at elite level, and he would be training Monday through Friday, and sometimes like his friends would be like, hey, like, on Friday they're going out, and why don't you just take one day off, right? And come out with us, right? And he's like, he can't, right? Like he just was in that mindset. It's like, no, if I want to be the best and want to be a champion, I have to do this, but I can't take days off like that. Like I have a schedule, I got to stick to it. And he said sometimes like even like family members would try to like get him to come to stuff, and like he said he started to feel like he was kind of like alone sometimes, because he's like, they like, unless you're doing it, they just didn't get it. Like they understand it, but they didn't get it, and like he felt like sometimes like the only people who understood him were the people he was like competing against, because they were going through the same things. So for you yourself, or whatever, who's competed at the highest levels, was there ever a time that you felt like that, and what was that like?
So in some regards, yes. So I feel like doing jiu-jitsu for 10 years and being involved in the community as much as I have, like I teach, I really integrated myself into the community, because I love giving back, and I just love participating and sharing the things I'm passionate about with other people. So as I started to pour myself into jiu-jitsu, I started to have less, the people I surrounded myself with were less, there was less of the community outside of jiu-jitsu. So in some regards, like, so my friends wise, like they do understand to some capacity of like, okay, she has to train because she's preparing for this thing, and they understand what that thing is, and the choices that I have to make to be able to compete at that level. But when I go home for Christmas or Thanksgiving, the holidays, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I can't eat. I'm going to be cheap. It's not that you can't eat, it's just making the choices of what you're going to eat, or smaller portions depending on like if I'm trying to make weight for a competition or stuff like that. And or like when I would go home and visit my family, I would see old friends, and they're like, let's go out and have a drink. That
part, see, like, yeah. Like.
And or I would go with them and have non-alcoholic options. I will say one of the best parts about non-alcoholic movement that's been happening is you can go to a lot more places and have mocktails or things that are non-alcoholic. So I've had to make a lot of harder choices. But fortunately, like, I do feel that at least the place that I'm at right now, or we're at, is they really support you. So like people know you can't really stay out late, or that if they do, you are going to stay out late, it's going to be up until this time, and that they can't just be like, oh, come on, it won't hurt.
Right.
They don't want to derail your progress. They want to empower you and have you go. So like I even have certain friends that when we're out, they're like, aren't you supposed to be leaving right now? You should have already been gone 15 minutes ago.
No, that's amazing. That you have friends like that, and you they get it, they understand it. Matter of fact, I think we have a video of just like how some of that hard work has paid off. So we're gonna take a look at one of the videos of you in action, and we're gonna show the audience what can happen if you are disciplined and you do jiu-jitsu. So we'll pull that up, and all right. So here, tell me a little about what's going on.
So this was from actually a couple months ago. I was competing at a tournament, and I'm working to collect the back.
And that's what happens when you collect the back, huh?
Yeah.
That'd be a lesson to people. If you ever collect your back, that's what can end up. Now we'll look at another video here. So tell me about this one.
All right. So this is a jiu-jitsu no-gi competition. She's smaller. We're different weight classes because the absolute division, where you get to face any weight class.
So it's like open weight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody who places first, second, or third can compete against anybody else who faced that.
So what's the strategy for something like that when you're facing against, like you said, different weight classes? Is it a different strategy versus someone who, is maybe like your weight class or whatever, or like what's?
I think so. So for me, yes, there is. If I'm facing people of my size, I have my A game and you have your B game. You always have your games you're gonna play. And A game is the one that you are most skilled in, that you can, like that's I'm playing everything and they're playing into my hand.
Oh,
and
okay.
so the position, I'll pull to guard. So I find that in certain tournaments, and let me go back on that.
Okay.
You want to strategize what game to play based off the tournament you're going to play in. Because
Makes
if you
sense.
aren't playing into the rules, then you are not giving yourself the best chance of winning. So like you want to read the rules, know the rules, and then from there, like for example, if it's a submission only tournament that I have to submit my opponent to be able to continue on, I'm not going to necessarily I'm going to alter the game I'm going to play. If it's a point jiu-jitsu tournament, I'm going to play into strategies that will allow me to get the most points.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that your games can't be similar. It just means your strategies have to be oriented towards those goals.
No, that makes perfect sense.
So if I'm playing a tournament, and a lot of the ones I do play in or compete in are point tournaments.
Okay.
So the strategies, I'd like to pull guard because a lot of the tournaments that have points, they tend to favor, it's less work. So
Okay.
the takedowns are hard.
Especially for us taller people, right?
We're so tall.
Right?
And the small ones can get under us so easily, and and like we're saying height likewise, is that like people who are shorter can get under our hips so easily and toss us or take us down. So if I'm already on the ground, they can't take me down.
That's smart. No, it's funny you say that because I kind of feel the same way, It's like most people are like, oh, I don't like being on my back or whatever. I was like, really? I was like, I actually don't mind it, whatever, because I have long limbs.
Yes.
So I feel like more in control or whatever, I never feel like it's too much danger. Obviously, I'm new, so I'm not even aware of all the danger. There's probably very much real danger, but I just still rather take my chances there, whatever, because I feel like it's a lot of work for me to go and do like a single or a double, and it's a higher risk for me because I do have to get not only do I have to get low, but I have to be fast, know, and I don't know if my knees still have the quickness in them like I think they do, and so just to not blow out a knee or anything like that or whatever. Say, you know what, let's go to the ground first.
Let's just hang out down here.
Yeah. So I definitely get that and understand that.
I will say though is that my previous gym, my foundation is not pulling guard. My foundation was to play top game because under their guidance it was when you're on top, you're winning. That's where all the points are, and they're not wrong. Like if the person pulls guard, you get to pass. You're going past their guard, you get points for that. You're in side control, back position, mount, all of it's from top position. If you're gonna pull guard, you have to be able to sweep them and off balance them. So I understand where my old coach, where his mindset was for that. But after playing one side and then experiencing the other, maybe my experience allows me to bias, but I do think that playing guard is way easier.
You're like, hey, listen, I understand that, but this works for me. You know? And I think that's important, right? Finding out what works for you and what you enjoy more. Because if you enjoy it more, I feel like maybe you'll get better at that thing more because it's not work to you. It's like, oh, this is my thing, and it feels natural and normal, versus, forcing yourself to do something that isn't necessarily what you enjoy as much. Because I enjoy like I said, fighting from guard and stuff like that. It feels better to me. But like you said, it's less work. And then they get tired and then, maybe take advantage. So what advice would you give to someone who, like you is to start, like when you first started, female, starting out of the gym, someone out there watching this, what advice would you tell them, about jiu-jitsu and, how to get better and to keep showing up? What do you tell them?
Okay, there's so many things I would tell them. The first things first though is go to a place and go through the doors. That's going to be one of the hardest things to do. And then the next hardest step is going to be showing up the next time. Know that every single person that has been in that room has been where you are, and let that build your confidence that you're, like, as you're struggling through these moments of like, it's hard, it's not easy, but know that you're not struggling alone. Sure, this person who has that colored belt, whether it be blue, purple, brown, or black, they've all started where you are. And I understand that each person's journey is different. Like, I think that's another important thing to remember is like your experience when you come in is all going to be different. And we always love to compare ourselves, but try your best to only compare yourself to the version of your own self. So like when you come into class and you keep trying this sweep and you're like, man, I can't get this sweep, but then somebody else they just started after you, they execute that sweep perfectly. You can't compare yourself to them.
Can't think about it that way, yeah.
And so like alongside that is find a gym that works and resonates with you. I cannot stress this enough, especially if you're a female. Not all gyms are as inviting to women, and that's just how it sometimes is. But that doesn't mean there's not a space for you. And if you have, like, if you're the type of woman that can be the, oh gosh, what is it called? Like when you pave the path, like.
Oh, like,
I know what it is.
Like, I know what you're trying to say. Like, when,
yes, trailblazer.
There you go.
Be your own trailblazer. So you might be in a smaller town where there might not be a lot of gyms, and you're like, this one's great, but I'm the only female. Know that like if you stay there and you have the positive attitude of like keep coming and being inclusive of other, like empowering all the people around you, not just the women, but like everyone around you, and trying to lift everybody up, we'll all be lifted up together. So like, at least that's my philosophy. I think that it's important to go and do that. So if you are by yourself as a female at a gym, know that like you continue to show up and have that open environment, there will be more that will come. And like that's how I have had other friends come and train with me as well. Let me see, what other advice would I give people who are beginning? If you are struggling, and like I've said earlier, everyone else has experienced where you are, you can also go and ask them. So, and it feels natural to want to roll with a lot of white belts because they're your same level and you should roll with them. But if you're concerned, you're like, oh, Lyzz, this is like really, I'm nervous about my safety.
Right.
Roll with the higher belts. Most higher belts, it depends on the gym culture you're at. Most want to lift other people up because the more people who are starting and joining and growing the sport, the bigger the sport and the community can get. So I feel like if you have an open environment that's similar to that, then that would be a good one.
Okay, all right. Very, very great advice, very great knowledge. I want to thank you again for just coming on the show, sharing, your journey, your story. I'm pretty sure someone out there is going to hear this and they're going to get a lot of gems from this. They're going to learn a lot. And I just, people like you are why I do what I do. And I just want to thank you again. And watching you train, I've even learned from you in person or whatever. And I just know you're very passionate about it, and the way that you explain things, whatever, makes sense. I understand it. And yeah, I'm just, so happy to have met someone like you, and I like that you're spreading, your positivity, and then just really giving back, because like you said, you're basically leading by example, right? It's one thing to tell people what they should do, but you're being the change that you want to see, as far as being inclusive and with gyms and having people come and learn from you. And so I just want to thank you again for coming on the show, and I want you to tell people where they can find out more about you with social media and how they can be in contact.
Okay. I want to say thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you offering the opportunity to be here, and I'm really excited to see where your journey goes. And if people want to contact me, they can contact me on Instagram at Miss Demonette.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. This has been another great episode of Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. Please Keep watching, keep subscribing, keep liking, and comment below. I want to hear from my fans. I want to hear from the people out there. And if you know somebody who you think is amazing, please, send me a message, shout them out. I want to have them on the show. Until next time, I'll see you then.